Hi, Tony Selzer here. Welcome to Line. We've got Justin Kruse, who's the CRM practice lead over at Leaf Software.
Yep.
You guys have been in business quite a long time now, right? I mean, it's
as a company, Leaf has been around. This is our 28th year of existence.
wow, 28 years. That is like 100 years in software time, right? And really, been a traditional CRM house, but that whole word is changing dynamically. CRM, I keep making the comment, CRM is the least intelligent piece of this entire ecosystem, right? I mean, having a place to stick your data about your customers is only one piece of the pie.
Sure.
Using technology, the process, and the people in a system, in a solution that's going to deliver a customer experience, that's a whole new ballgame.
Yep.
And that's really what you kind of help companies do, right?
Yeah.
You go in and do some assessment and understanding of their business, and then help them implement this tool in a way that's going to create an unfair kind of competitive advantage. Is that
Absolutely.
fair?
Absolutely. Very fair. Very fair.
How'd you get into this?
So it really is by matter of just circumstance. I was in college. People came to school and said, "Hey, we want to do hire you to do consulting." At the time, I had no idea what it was. Signed on, and that was 9 years ago, and landed in just to doing CRM consulting.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, I've seen the evolution, really kind of the platform and just the concept of CRM, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I think the mind shift of people realizing that CRM started as just kind of this software that I'm gonna, slap in kind of the CD drive, install, and it's just magically gonna happen. And thought of in the same vein as traditional software. I just install, hey, I've got Office, I've got Word that's up and going. Now I'm just gonna have this CRM kind of application that's there.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that. I mean, I have one of my favorite objections I get from a client is, we just bought Salesforce.
Of course.
Or we just bought Microsoft Dynamics, right?
Yeah.
Or we just bought whatever off the shelf, so we don't need help with our marketing. Or we don't need help with our lead generation.
Yeah.
Or we don't. And I'm thinking to myself, how's technology going to make stuff happen?
Yeah.
Right? You've got to build a solution, and you have to understand what you're trying to accomplish. And then what's more important is you've got to have a partner that can come alongside you and make the software do what you're supposed to get done, right?
Yeah, very much. I think of it almost like an analogy of you have a DIYer, and hey, I need to go and rewire my house. And so they get the book, and they're like, oh, I got electricians kind of 101 down. They open up the outlet, they start running wires, and sure enough, they've got the light on in that room. But what they fail to realize is they tapped into the circuit, and now the whole left side of the house is completely off. So they see results right away. Hey, I made it happen. I made the light go on. But they completely missed the larger picture.
Or they just plain electrocute themselves.
Well, they shock themselves.
Right?
Yeah. Well, they don't kill themselves, but they might be laying on the floor a little bit there.
Yeah. And I think that analogy holds, right? Because it's one thing to think you know how to wire a house. It's another thing to be able to make sure that house is not going to kill the people in it.
Absolutely.
It's another thing to make sure that it's done efficiently. That one system doesn't shut down another system.
Absolutely.
That every time you turn the light on, that the freezer doesn't go bad and you're poisoning the kids.
Exactly.
Because the food's going bad.
And
And that is really what I see happen with the implementation of those tools.
Yeah.
And that's where the rubber meets the road, right? I can't imagine, and you've seen this happen, and it just blows my mind. You'd be a 50, 150, $200 million company, and someone decides to yank out one CRM platform and put it in the other.
Exactly.
That's not the problem.
Yeah.
That isn't the problem.
No,
it wasn't the technology's fault.
Oftentimes people miss just the paradigm of we have people, process, and technology. They jump technology at the forefront, and I'll just slap on the next latest and greatest shiny object. And before you know it, hey, it's not working. It's the same problem, new clothes.
Right. It's really finding a partner that can help and has the domain expertise in your industry that they can guide you through that process of adoption.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we're really trying to get done.
Yeah.
We're trying to get people to adopt something.
Absolutely.
And that's really what you kind of come in and help do.
It really is. When you look at, I think, just the CRM market in general, you see applications that there's a high failure rate, high overrun, and there's low adoption for end users. And you step back and you think, well, why is that? And oftentimes, at the outset, what starts is, well, let's just talk about features. And maybe you start looking at the IT kind of brings you on board, and they say, hey, we just want to bring this latest and greatest thing in to add to our portfolio. Well, they don't understand, and they're not looking at it from the business. And what are our business challenges? And so oftentimes people go in and they're looking at things hey, what can this do? Can I click that button? Can I do that? They've already gotten the cart ahead of the donkey, as opposed to, let's step back. What are your challenges? What are your pain points? What keeps you up at night? Starting with that first, and then making sure that the application can support your processes. Too often, I think you see the application just being rolled out, and the application forces the users to fit that process.
Well, and I think that's very well said. It's like it's forcing somebody in a square box instead of saying, "Hey, let me show you how this tool can help you accomplish your goals, and let me help you drive yourself through an adoption strategy that makes sense for you." So, just on that point, brings me to this story. My cousin was the #1 sales guy for Abbott Labs for almost like pushing 3 decades. And the thing that drove him out of the business was, having to report to a CMO who wanted to make sure he got all of his data in Salesforce. And because he wanted to see how the #1 guy was performing, right? It was just anticlimactic in what the tool could actually get done. They could have been a mobile app. They could have had some kind of functionality that, 3 clicks, he could have given them the data. It could have been more instantaneous. He wouldn't have had to take the time. He would have made more calls. That is what's wrong today. Right? It's not using the tool to optimize. It's forcing people in a structure that doesn't accomplish what's supposed to get done. Would you agree?
I fully agree with that. And I think that's a classic case of we have an application, and the application forces me. So if I'm an end user, the application forces you to operate under its parameters. And even though it can be productive, it can produce results, obviously there's barriers, there's friction, there's things that resistance. So you see users that just don't want to use the application. They put up a fit about it. And I think where that goes wrong and how it should be flipped is, once again, you first start with, what are the challenges? What are we trying to accomplish here? Let's define those. Let's understand what the key metrics are. And then let's make the technology, the application, support those pieces, so that at the end of the day, when you roll this out to the end users, they realize that it's empowering them, it's supporting them. It's not a barrier to what they want to do. I think that really is the paradigm that's shifting from old school to really kind of where we're at right now.
Make the tool an actual tool to accomplish what you're here to accomplish.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for being on the show, brother.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.